Hello and welcome to another edition of the Week in Gaming. Quite a few news stories to get through this week, so I'm going to start with the attack on the PlayStation Network, which was a DDoS attack. Now, from what I understand, this is a denial of service act. I think that's the correct term. I wasn't too sure, so I just sort of looked it up. And from what I understand, it's just an attack or a hack where the hacker will overload the server with traffic that isn't actually there until it becomes to a point where it can't handle it and it'll just shut down. So Sony have apologised for the outage and stated that there was no evidence of any of its users' personal information being at risk, which is a little bit reassuring because in the 2011 hack, no one seemed to know what was going on at all. They, in my opinion, really did handle that badly. But apparently this wasn't. There was a personal attack towards Sony Online Entertainment president John Smedley. The group believed to be behind the outage issued a bomb threat for American Airlines Flight 362. This is the plane that John Smedley was on, and he put a tweet up saying that yes, his plane was diverted, and not going to discuss more than that. Justice will find these guys. So from what I understand of their motivation behind this attack, from what I'm reading in the article, it was to do with the fact that they felt Sony was a greedy company, and to be honest, they're entitled to their opinion on that. But from what I've been hearing about Sony in the last couple of months, they've sort of been laying off a lot of staff. I mean, that's not just Sony, that's a lot of companies in this day and age. We've seen quite a few developers doing the same as well. So really, I don't. I mean, obviously, you know, if it went for Sony's PlayStation brand, I don't think they'd be doing as well as they could be. It's probably one of their biggest assets. But I just feel that there's companies out there that can be a lot worse than Sony, and it seems strange that they'll attack Sony, yet they won't attack other companies that, you know, release things that and bring things out that you probably don't need. But you've got to use it to sort of. Let's take Apple for example. If you've got an older iPod, you've got like a really big adapter. But with the newer iPods, the charge cable, I can't remember the correct term for it, is a lot smaller. So if you've got any of the older, like you've got like any docking stations that use the old iPods, iPhone, etc. thing, you've got to go and buy a new one, which you really shouldn't need to do, in my opinion. Yet they don't get attacked. Now, I don't wish them to get attacked anyway, or well, I'm not aware of them getting any attack. I'm just using that as an example of, you know, companies getting more money out of something that we shouldn't really need to have. I mean, you can actually get pin adapters quite cheap because I have one. I think it's like £4 or something. I have one of the newer iPods, so it doesn't really affect me. But it's just not a handy thing to have, to be honest. It's nice to be able to use the old wires, basically. Anyway, that's all I've really got to say. The only thing I thought was another thing that I thought was a little bit out of order with this story is the fact that this group are targeting Sony, and apparently it wasn't just Sony. There was other things. I think it was Battle.net. I think that's a PC gaming thing. I could be wrong on that. I'm not much of a PC gamer, so that would sort of make sense. But as I said, I could be wrong. They apparently had a few issues with some of their services as well. So it doesn't look like it does mention Microsoft, but from what I'm understanding is it was Blizzard's Diablo 3 that was having the issues. It was just noticed on Microsoft systems, so I don't think Microsoft were actually any part of this at all. They didn't get attacked in any way. But what I don't like is the fact that they've issued a bomb threat on the plane that I forget what his title is, John Smedley we'll go with, and there's people on that flight as well that apparently there were pictures of where the flight landed and there's like people's luggage just because of the sheer panic. And is it really necessary just because you think a company is greedy to attack like frighten the hell out of innocent people. And I think it's, you know, if you've got issues with Sony, that's your problem. It's not innocent people. That they have nothing to do with Sony's fault. I mean, it doesn't say anything that these people that were on this flight were anything to do with Sony, so I could be wrong on that. But anyway, that's pretty much all I've got to say on that topic. It was quite a frustrating thing on Sunday. I'm not going to lie, but you know, I had to go to work that day, so it wasn't too bad for me. But you know, these hacks are getting a bit annoying late. So for the second news story, now this is probably one of the best news stories for the week for me, was the announcement of Poken Tournament. This is a Pokemon 3D fighting game, and I don't think I'm the only one that's quite excited about this. There'll be a screenshot in a minute showing Machamp and Lucario fighting, squaring off against each other. So the game was announced by the Pokemon Company, and it's a 3D Tekken style fighting game. I just heard Pokemon and Tekken, two of my favourite franchises games, and I got excited. But the bad news, it's only for Japanese arcades at the moment. The title's being developed at Bandai Namco under Tekken boss Katsuhiro Harada. I think that's pronounced. I'm not very good with Japanese names, I do apologise. Bandai Namco is already working with Nintendo on the forthcoming 3DS and Wii U versions of the Super Smash Bros. So that's interesting because they've already got the relationship there. So hopefully we will see this on the Wii U at some point, or possibly the 3DS. It's not the first. Well, there was a screenshot quite some time ago of Lucario and Blaziken, like, well, it's the same, it's a similar thing. So hopefully that is a screenshot from Poken Tournament and actually confirms that Blaziken is in the game as well, because he or she is a big Pokemon that I think, you know, a lot of fans do like. But there is no official launch for a Wii U version, or the fact that it might reach other arcades, because from what I understand, the arcades in Japan are really big business, whereas over here in the UK, and I'm not too sure in America, but over here they're not as big. I don't think they've ever really been a huge thing. I mean, they might have been before my time, but I mean, I remember playing the original Sonic game on one, and I loved it. But I don't think it's such a big thing. So hopefully we will see these come to the Wii U. I think it will, the 3DS, because I think it would be a big thing for Nintendo to get this on a Wii U. I definitely would buy it. I'd pre-order it right now based on what I've seen, and that's not a lot. But I must admit, I'm a huge Tekken fan, and Pokemon I've been a fan of since it first came out. I can't remember how old I was, but I've just loved it. There was also some interesting information I was reading on, I think it's pronounced Celebi.net. It's the Japanese term for Celebi, if I'm correct. It's the Japanese name for Celebi even. So it said, if I can find it again, I did leave it up and I've kind of knocked it off, which is not very good. On Twitter, Poken Tournament's game producer Katsuhiro Harada, hopefully I've pronounced that right, again, confirmed a new bit of information for Poken Tournament. This bit of information confirmed that not all of the Pokemon that are to be in the game will be fighting type, opening the game to even more possibilities. That for me was actually one of the things that I kind of was a little bit worried about, because if it would have been all fighting type, it would have been understandable, but the fact is, it'd be interesting. Pokemon's always been about different types. Now, how this will play in the game, I couldn't tell you. Will there be double damage for a water type attack hitting a fire type? But then I had a thought on this. What if, because there's pretty much every Pokemon's dual type now, pretty much. I think there's a few that still aren't. Like, I think Hitmonchan's just fighting. I don't think he's any other type. But what if, like, for example, Blaziken is fighting and fire type? Are they saying that, not, you know, that that's type differences. There's not just one. Or are they saying? Well, I'm not explaining this very well. What I'm trying to say is, where like Blaziken's firefighting, are they saying that he's a fire type as well as a fighting type? So that's the different types. Are they saying like Pokemon like Charizard, for example, is going to be in there? It's kind of an interesting one, that, because there's so many different. I mean, I think Chestnut, which is one of the newest Pokemon, is a grass fighting type, if I'm correct. I really haven't played any X and Y. It's really quite annoying because I've lost my copy of X, but yeah, there's a lot of questions to be asked on that, really. It would be interesting, really, because I think if you had something like Charizard flying around, it's kind of like in Tekken 6, I think, in Tag Tournament, when you start losing health, you like do double damage or something. So would that be like constantly on if you're a flying type against fighting types? It'd be interesting to see how they work the mechanics around that, if that's how it's going to play out. Because I think, I'm trying to think of another. I mean, Scraggly's a fighting type if he's in the game. When he gets hit by a fighting attack, is it going to do double damage? Because obviously dark types are weak to fighting, if I remember correctly. So it will be interesting. I think this is a huge opportunity for Nintendo to bring this, if hopefully they get a chance to bring this to the Wii U, because I think, or even the 3DS, but hopefully more the Wii U, because obviously the Wii U isn't doing its. I mean, thanks to Mario Kart, the sales have picked up, but hopefully this is the exclusive they need. But unfortunately, the game's not out till 2015 for arcades, and that's just in Japan. So I'd imagine it'd be at least till. It's hard to say because I think Tekken Tag Tournament was late 2011 on arcades, and I think it's 2012. No, it's like November or October or something like that. I think I might even in September 2012. So that, we might need to do this till 2016, even if it is coming to the Wii U. But I think it's going to be quite interesting, really. As I said, I think it's a massive opportunity for Nintendo. So the third and final story for this one is yet another bit of information about Nintendo. This is about the new 3DS that they've announced. I will just show a screenshot. Should just be coming up now. There we go. So as you can see, the first thing you may notice is the buttons are now colours, which is very similar to the SNES controller, if I remember correctly. And I heard that they've added a new button, but I can't see. I think it's the one that's just above the coloured buttons, which is quite tiny. But the bad news with this, which I think is the worst bit, is that, well, I'll read you the article and I can sort of explain the worst bit in a minute. So where are we? Just trying to find it. Nintendo has revealed new designs for the 3DS and 3DS XL, which feature an additional direction nubbin trigger, I'm not quite sure what that means, and NFC support, which I yet again don't have a clue what it is, but it'll probably explain it as we go on. Named as the new 3DS and the new 3DS XL, the models also include an improved screen, which allows you to view the handheld's 3D effect from wider angles. I must admit, this is something I've had trouble with 3DS, because I don't always use 3D, I must admit. But some games I do sort of play it just to I think it adds to the experience, and sometimes you've got to get at the right angle. It can be quite frustrating just trying to do it and you just give up. So that's something I think is really fantastic that they're adding. It's also going to have a faster CPU, and in fact will be required to play some of the new games, which is probably the worst bit, meaning that if you've got a 3DS like I do, you're going to have to unfortunately buy a new one just to carry on playing. But I'll talk more about that when I've read the rest of the information. One of the very new games that they've announced is going to be the Xenoblade Chronicles 3DS port. It also means that the device will be able to load the 3DS eShop and Miiverse faster. I've never really had a problem with that. I must admit the eShop can take a while to load. And also the handhelds the handheld's internet browser will also now support HTML5. I'm not too clued up on that, but I'm guessing that's going to be a pretty fast browser. Apparently the designs will be roughly the same size as existing models, but also squeezed in the extra technology, which incorporates the buttons found on the 3DS Circle Pad Pro. I can't really see where they are, but it doesn't. It sort of shows a screenshot on the article where the Circle Pad Pro is, so maybe that's just like some early shots that we'll see, to be honest. There's also a new C button named after the GameCube's Pad C stick, which I remember, if I'm correct, is the yellow button. It's on the bottom. I'm trying to think. Let me just get my GameCube controller. Yeah, it was just by the B button. It's like a yellow analog stick, which didn't really. I remember I think on Resident Evil, I think it changed the camera. I never really used it a lot, to be honest. It wasn't. I don't think it was. I mean, I haven't played a lot of GameCube games where I had to use it that I can think of, but I could be wrong. It also allows for micro USB. It's got a card slot, and NFC reading technology are also built in, negating the need. Oh, I see what it is for now. It's for the forthcoming Ambo, I think that's how you pronounce it, range of toys, because they announced those yesterday. You've got like the usual Nintendo suspects. Link, Mario, Luigi, Peach, Pikachu. I can't remember the other ones. I think there might have been Fox McCloud if I'm correct. But it's the usual Nintendo. Oh, there's Wii Fitness Training, which seems a bit bizarre, but I think they're going to be sort of used with the new Smash Bros. Japan obviously are going to see the designs first. Nintendo boss I really hate trying to pronounce these. Satoru Iwata revealed in the new Nintendo Direct broadcast. So that's to be expected. That it's a Japanese company; they're going to see it first. That's fair enough. The new 3DS XL will come in metallic blue and metallic black colours, while the new Nintendo 3DS meanwhile will come in white and black. Which I kind of like the idea of that, because it gives you the option of which one you prefer. The new 3DS will also be customizable with a wide range of special faceplates. Now this I actually liked, because if there's these like a lot of these Pokemon Nintendos, it means you don't have to keep buying new DSs, and I think this is a really fantastic idea. And it'd be nice to see, like, because there's a lot of ones that are only exclusive to Japan, and a lot of 3DS models. So it'd be nice to have this. That I think, because it's like the customizable faceplates for the Xbox, but they kind of died out. To be honest, I don't know why they did, but I kind of like them. I did have a football one to start with, but let's just say I had issues with that and I had to give it back. But I think it's great that they're doing that. It'd be like mobile phone I can't even pronounce this word. Fascias or something. Mario, Peach, Animal Crossing designs were shown. So if you like those games, that's pretty that's pretty good for you. They haven't said anything about a European or North American release just of yet, but I think for me what is really quite annoying there is it's nice that they're bringing all these great features, but it's just very frustrating that you have to buy another 3DS if you're someone. I mean, I'm lucky I got my 3DS in August 2011, so I'm probably due for a new upgrade soon, possibly. But it's kind of frustrating that imagine if you just bought one and you've told that, and that's going to be confusing, because a lot of parents that buy these for their young kids are not going to. If my mum, for example, isn't very clued up on gaming, so they're going to just call it 3DS, and you buy the game for the old 3DS, and it's not going to work. That's a bit confusing. Hopefully they'll call it like something like the 3DS2 or something, or 3DS Plus. I think I heard in an article, or I think it was a video I was watching on YouTube actually. So that's really everything this week. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you will join me for next week's video. Any thoughts and feelings, feel free to post in the comments, and I will get back to you on them hopefully.